The following is a presentation of the Belly Up Sports Media Network.
All right, everyone. Welcome to another edition of No Credentials Required, where you don't need a press pass to talk sports. We are proudly presented by the Belly Up Sports Network. My name is Ryan McCarthy. I'm stumbling over my words. To my right, I'm one of your co-hosts. To my right is the man who turned down the job for the Jacksonville Jaguars, Dustin Henry. Dustin, how are you doing today?
I did. It's another job that I've just turned down. I've been up for jobs. I've been very fortunate that people want to talk to me, but I don't think I am the right person to continue the development of Trevor Lawrence, to turn him into the star QB that I think he has shown glimpses of over the past couple of seasons. I'm just not equipped to do that, because I'm very short and I never played quarterback in my life except during two-hand touch football and a couple times on the annual Black Friday Bowl that my friends and I used to have at a certain age when we all came home from college. And then we got to a point where we realized we probably shouldn't do that anymore.
Well, that's too. Well, I understand also, because I wouldn't want to work for Shad Khan either.
That is true. That is true. Now, Tony, if you want to reach out and talk to me, I've got some ideas about the creative direction of AEW. Holler at your boy.
Oh my goodness. Well, we got a lot to cover tonight, but we're going to get to it in just a moment. We're going to start off with some breaking news, but we got some business to take care of first. And that includes letting you know about our social media channels. Facebook.com/NoCardsREQ, Twitter and Instagram @NoCardsREQ, YouTube.com/@NoCardsREQ, and on BellyUpSports.com. Check out other stuff there. Subscribe to the podcast. Find on your preferred podcast platform, including Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Spreaker, Amazon Music, iHeart, TuneIn, and Pandora. And don't forget to get notified on Twitter. I still refuse to call it X. Sorry, Elon. And YouTube. That way you know when videos go up, when show announcements go up, when we make tasty memes, whichever. I mean, you subscribe, you get the notification, you hit the notification bell. That way you know when that stuff goes up. And we also, again, rate, review, comment. We're a live show Tuesdays at 6:30 Eastern, Saturdays at 10 a.m. Eastern. We got some comments already going in the comments section. We got some let's talk to you about tonight on the pod. But again, podcast side, rate, 5-star rating is helpful. Review, leaving a review on a podcast platform, you can do so, helps. On Spotify, leave a comment, because you can do that now. And because it's a live show, again, we welcome your comments. We got some rolling in, and but of course we gotta let the people know what time it is. And I can't find. Dang it! Hang on.
My watch stopped.
Oh, my heart just stopped.
Hook it straight to my veins. Oh man, I can't distract the captain while he's in the middle of trying to do a task here. I'm not helping anybody.
That's okay, because it's still processing, but it's coming up. It's coming up. It's coming up. I promise. I promise. All right. It's chime time. I just switched over to a new studio on StreamYard, and I thought I had all my elements up, but I didn't.
Oh man. Well, in audio listeners, I got to say, if you haven't checked us out on the YouTube side, check us out. Check us out on the YouTube side at the Belly Up Sports channel. If you have not subscribe yet. Once the show finishes, it will be posted on their YouTube channel. Ryan's been putting in the work, as he always does. You got to check out this new No Credentials Required banner we got going on. Very sleek.
New background. That's right. But Dustin, before we talk about our main topic tonight, which is reacting to the divisional round in the NFL playoffs, we got some breaking news.
Ooh.
Start the show. Yeah, let's get some breaking news. Let's play that singer.
I think there's a specialness to the breaking news music. And
There
again, if you want to witness Ryan's dance moves live, watch us on YouTube. We appreciate you all, audio listeners, but every once in a while, you got to treat yourself to the visual accoutrements that is Ryan and I doing the show.
Treat yourself. All right. So here's the breaking news that I promised. The National Baseball Hall of Fame, the baseball writers in their infinite wisdom have elected so far Ichiro Suzuki, CC Sabathia, and Billy Wagner to the class of 2025. To which I say, bravo.
Yeah. This is a good class, Ryan. When you told me that there were breaking news at the top of the show, I didn't know what it was going to be. I thought it would be football related, given we're in the flurry of coaching hires and interviews and that whole process. But this is a nice surprise. First of all, Ichiro, I have nothing but love for Ichiro. It was a joy to watch him play. He was an ageless wonder, and he kind of changed the game of baseball a little bit, brought it a little bit more global. He was one of the first players that came over, I would say, that panned out in a massive way.
Absolutely.
Ichiro's talent transcended baseball at any level. It was a pleasure to watch him hit. I think he's underrated defensive player as well. Very, very, very good. And I mean, CC's one of my guys.
Of
CC,
course.
I love CC, and I've rambled many times on this show. The respect I had for him after he did what he did for Milwaukee when he was traded there, and he knew he was going to be a free agent, and that team wasn't going anywhere that year. They barely made it into the playoffs, and CC pitched his arm off right before impending free agency. And the reports that came out of Milwaukee's locker room are just that he was nothing but a consummate professional, consummate teammate. And, you know, he's just a gamer, and I loved watching him pitch. He had the sideways turn hat, and also I still love when they asked him, he lost weight one off season, and they said, "What did you do different?" And he said, "I stopped eating Captain Crunch." That's the best. Okay. CC is the best. Now, Billy Wagner, also very good. I think the baseball writers, they got this one right. I know we disagree with them sometimes, but this is a good class so far. Your thoughts, Ryan?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Ichiro, I did the math. You saw me on my phone, the calculator. Ichiro, between Japan and Major League Baseball, 18 seasons in Major League Baseball with the Mariners, the New York Yankees. Fun fact, I saw his first home run as a Yankee back in 2012.
Oh, nice.
It was pretty cool. And the Miami Marlins.
That's right. I forgot about the Marlins.
Yes.
I forgot.
Yes, he played for the Marlins from 2015 to 2017. And he was still hitting the ball pretty good.
Ageless wonder, I tell you.
Ageless wonder. He hit, although he did hit 229 in 2015, which kind of brought his career average down just a skosh to 311. But in the meantime,
oh man, amber was the color of his energy. I'm sorry, it was right there. I had to do it.
311, right there. You go. By the way, 311 originally from Nebraska, which is interestingly enough. I remember the conspiracy of people calling 311 part of the KKK. I'm like,
oh yeah.
No, 311 was I think 311 was the Nebraska state code for indecent exposure. If I remember correctly. But anyway, Ichiro, one of the I would say the best pure hitters. I mean, he spent his first 9 seasons in Japan, was 18 years old when he first started his professional career with the Oryx Blue Wave, now the Oryx Buffaloes, because they merged with the can't remember who who they were before the Buffaloes. Try to remember their name. Oh, Kontetsu Buffaloes, because they merged in the early 2000s because they were both going bankrupt. Two legendary teams, also known as the Hankyu Braves. Little known fact. Great.
Encyclopedia Britannica strikes again.
Yeah, right. Gaijin Baseball, great YouTube channel, by the way. That's why I got all my Japanese baseball. That's why I watched. That's why I want to include Mr. Baseball in our no ticket required.
Yeah,
because I watched Gaijin Baseball, but the history of Japanese baseball. It's really cool. But yeah, 4,367 hits between his time in Japan and Major League Baseball. 3,089 in Major League Baseball. Stacey Sabathia, aka the Black Ace, who was he was 2009 World Series champion, 2007 Cy Young Award winner, 6-time All-Star. Also, I believe the third left-handed pitcher to throw 3,000 strike. Yep, third left-handed pitcher, 3,000 strikeouts, 251 career wins, 21 wins in 2010. And Billy Wagner, one of the best relievers in, I think, in our lifetime.
Yeah.
Between his time with the Houston Astros, the New York Mets, the Philadelphia Phillies, the Boston Red Sox, and the Atlanta Braves. 1,096 strikeouts, 422 saves, 2.31 career ERA, and a WAR of 27.7. Yeah, absolutely outstanding. One of the most feared relievers in the 2000s and 2010s.
Yeah.
Legend reliever. I'm glad to see the relievers getting their due.
Yeah. Certain closer. I mean, you could and people bring up the example. I mean, John Smoltz, what he did as a reliever alone, unbelievable. And Ryan, you and I feel like I'm a little younger than you, just a touch younger than you, but I feel like both of us grew up. First of all, we were spoiled because we were Mariano Rivera. We got to witness his greatness for years.
Yes.
And the thing is, though, we also had Trevor Hoffman, another legendary closer. Billy Wagner was right up there. And the thing is, though, you never saw some of the stuff come out about him. Like, who was it? Who was it that was closing for the Dodgers for a while? And he was real dominant.
Oh,
Gagne, yep. Gagne. Nothing like that was ever attached to Wagner, to my knowledge, or, and obviously Mo and Trevor Hoffman. But I feel like that was the era. And I'm sure there's some older baseball heads that are going to come out and tell us, well, you don't know about this guy or this guy. But Ryan, I feel like growing up in the late 90s and early 2000s, that was kind of the golden age. That's where the dominance of the closer really took shape, and you started to see like these specialist guys, and Billy Wagner was one of those guys. If you could get to the ninth inning, the game was pretty much over. Game was pretty much over, or even into the eighth, because this was another age where they'd let the closer pitch a little bit to get a save.
Yeah. And Dustin, take a guess of how many, including Billy Wagner, how many relievers are in the Baseball Hall of Fame?
I'm going to go with a 4.
Nope.
All right. I'm probably way off.
There are 9.
9. Okay.
You can count them on both hands. There are only 9 relievers in the Hall of Fame. But then again, I mean, reliever really wasn't a true position until around the 1970s. That's when he saw the reliever, that era, start to emerge with Goose Gossage, Bruce Sutter, some of these Raleigh Fingers, that legendary mustache.
Yeah, that mustache was something to behold. I'll tell you that.
Jeff Reardon, all those guys in the 70s and 80s who were, those were the guys who kind of were the foundation of what the reliever is today. And Mariano Rivera, right now, I believe he has one of the most unbreakable records in sports. 652 career saves. Now, he and Trevor Hoffman both are the only two to have over 600 saves lifetime.
Yeah.
The next closest is Lee Smith, who was inducted the same year as Mariano Rivera with 478.
It's crazy. And I'm starting to think, and it's funny that we bring up CC, great number of wins, 251 career wins. But I really do believe that with the way pitching has changed in baseball, the era of somebody getting 300 career wins, that won't happen anymore.
No,
that won't happen anymore. That's
CC,
gone.
CC Sabathia has 251. I think 200 to 250 now is the benchmark.
Yeah.
4 wins in this, at least in this era.
I would say so. And CC also one of the last, I don't want to say last because I think I speak with too much hyperbole sometimes, but he was one of those guys that he was going to try to take the ball late into the games. He would want to stay out there and close out a game because that with the concerns about arm safety and the increase in Tommy John surgeries and all that, that's another era that I think is done pretty much. I could see where the benchmark for a quality start is reduced simply because they don't leave the starters in there the way that they are, the way that they were in previous eras. But we may get into a little bit of baseball talk later in the show. Spoilers, but it's funny that we get to break baseball at the top of the hour.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's awesome. I saw as soon as I saw the fact that the National Baseball Hall of Fame came out with their 3 players who were going to be inducted to the Hall of Fame. I texted my nephew right away. My nephew Christian, CJ Beast.
Yeah.
Now he's the fire beast because he's a fireman. I texted him right away. I said, Ichiro, CC Sabathia, and Billy Wagner. I said, well, actually, initially I said, CC Sabathia, you are a Hall of Famer. You are welcome to Cooperstown. And he said, well deserved so far. Then I said, and Ichiro and Billy Wagner. He says, and I think he knew Ichiro had gotten inducted. He also said Billy Wagner well deserved as well. So yeah, I mean, all 3 guys definitely deserving. Yeah. Billy Wagner, 8th all time in saves. Ichiro over 3,000 hits in his career. CC Sabathia, the third left-handed. He's only one of 3 left-handed pitchers, starting pitchers all time with over 3,000 strikeouts. He's definitely first ballot. And all these guys are I believe all these guys are first ballots.
Oh, wow.
CC's a first ballot. Let's just do a quick research.
A little real-time research, everybody. And that's the thing. We got some comments rolling in. Wonko the Saint says, "Sorry, all. I don't do baseball till September. We'll forgive you, Wonko. We forgive you for that one." And Uncle Al chiming in, CC, a gamer if there ever was one. Uncle Al and I have had many, many conversations, if you can believe it, extolling the virtues of CC Sabathia.
Yeah. So I double checked. Ichiro is a first ballot Hall of Famer. CC Sabathia is a first ballot Hall of Famer. Billy Wagner, this was his 10th and final appearance on the ballot. We seriously, okay. This again, I talked about this ad nauseum on this podcast that the Baseball Writers Association of America, they need to reform their balloting process for the Hall of Fame. Have to do it. Because this is ridiculous. Like Billy Wagner had to wait till his 10th and final time to get into the Hall of Fame. And
he should have been in well before this. Yeah,
and Julie makes a great point. Still no call for Lou Whitaker. Shaking my head. I think he should get in as a legacy vote. I mean, this I don't like the pettiness of the Baseball Writers Association of America. I don't like it at all. Because he was mean. The beat writers like, he was mean to me in the pressers. He was so mean to me in the locker room when he was interviewing me. Give me a break. The stats are what the stats are.
Well, and it's also to bring it over to football for a second. You think the fact that Bill Belichick was always less than polite to some of the reporters is going to get into his Hall of Fame status one day? No.
Oh, I can't wait till the college beat writers get a hold of him. It's going to be fun.
Oh, man.
Oh, my goodness. Also, with the Hall of Fame, Roger Craig should be a Hall of Famer. The first 1,000 rushing and receiving. He's the first one. He ran, he walked so others could run, like
Yes.
Marshall Faulk and Christian McCaffrey. Those are the only three who are in the 1,000 club. And yet, Roger Craig, not in the Hall of Fame. Also a damn shame.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. Well, he was at SMU, wasn't he? That's why for college.
That's Eric Dickerson.
Okay.
Roger Craig. Interestingly enough, Roger Craig played fullback at Nebraska.
Yeah. Okay. Did he? But I'm trying to remember because did he share the backfield with somebody? I can't remember. I'm getting everything.
When he was at Nebraska, he shared the backfield with Mike Rozier, who won the Heisman Trophy.
Okay.
When he was a 49er, I'm trying to remember who he shared. I think it was Freddie Solomon who shared the back with initially, but then Tom Rathman was drafted, and he became the fullback. Like kind of like the Daryl Johnson of the 49ers. That era.
Yeah. Okay.
So yeah, Tom Rathman was the. If our guy Snowman's watching, he can help me out here. But I believe it was Freddie Solomon who he initially shared the backfield with, and then he became the full-time running back for a number of years before he signed with the Los Angeles Raiders at the time. So, all right, before we get into our main topic, let's get the comments real quick. Julie from Michigan saying, hello, gentlemen. She's also saying sad trombone noises. Yeah, we got to talk about that. Welcome to saying, let's go. Julie's also complimenting us on the banner. Our new the wording from the new banner saying it looks clean and snazzy. Yeah, I touched up the lettering and the outline a little bit, and it looks real nice.
Real nice.
Wonka's also saying, way to go, Buckeyes. Ryan Day has serious job security until the next Michigan game.
Yeah, he can't beat them. I don't even follow college football, and even I know that. You got to beat your cheap rival, and Ryan Day can't do it.
Yeah, compared to Ohio State, as much as I hate them, and as much as this was a nightmare scenario for me for my college football playoff, you gotta hand it to the Ohio State. They absolutely just ran through every single opponent they played in this college football playoff. And again, Julie saying still no call for Lou Whitaker. She says, I was rooting for Notre Dame as a Michigan resident. I'm against anything Ohio State. And when Trunkel replied, I would have rooted for the Irish versus anyone in the playoffs. Good for the Big 10, Big 30 at least. I call it the Big 10 through 16 now. And Scott chiming in saying Billy Wagner batting against average, 187, best in Major League Baseball history with 800 plus innings pitched. Wow, man, that's incredible. Wonka the same. Sick Diggy joining us from Norway says we've got the Piper down. Oh no, oh wait, he's just pissed. He's up. If you want my body and you think, I'm just kidding. Never mind. Wonko saying drove down Pete Rose way this afternoon. Audible sigh. Oh man. Yeah. We memorialized him a few months back, I believe.
Yes.
When he passed on. Sick Diggy saying, why is the press vote in who goes to the Hall of Fame in the first place?
Yeah, I don't know.
Shrug emoji. I don't know.
Yeah, color us confused on that one. We
yeah, we're very confused as to why. I think in the only Hall of Fame that really doesn't require writers to write in their vote to vote for people to vote players in is the Pro Basketball Hall of Fame. You have to literally go to Springfield in front of a panel and state your case.
Wow.
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Should be that, and then that should be that way. And I think it's the same for the NFL, the Pro Football Hall of Fame with the legacy votes. You have to go state your case. And then Six saying my kinfolk in Ohio are overjoyed. They're mostly Ohio State alumni. Yeah, good for them. All right, we're going to talk about and react to the NFL divisional round that took place this weekend. 4 teams remain. And then we go to New Orleans on February 9th. But this weekend was the NFL divisional round. And we're going to start off with the Saturday games. First, start off with the Texans and the Chiefs. Dustin, I'm going to have you start with your thoughts in this game. What were your thoughts in this game when you watched it? Where did you watch it at all? Where did you watch it? I mean, give us some details. What do you think about this game?
Well, I had a lot of family stuff going on over the weekend. Some good stuff. Took my dad out to lunch, and then
Hey.
one of my nephews was going back to college, so we had a dinner at City Line with him to kind of send him off. And that is where I saw the parts of this game that I saw was at City Line. So I did not have the sound on, Ryan, obviously, but even with the sound off, I felt like the some of the calls that the Chiefs got their way, the penalties on the Texans, ridiculous. Okay, but I think this game, uh, it it kind of fell out the way that we thought it would on Saturday. I think both of us said the Texans would keep it close early, and then the Chiefs would just kind of find a way to pull away. And the Chiefs, I'll tell you, they better thank whoever they believe in, whatever entity, whatever they subscribe to. They better thank them because Travis Kelce was out there and he was doing it because they weren't getting that much production from anybody else on the roster. And also the Texans, I was watching a little bit of Total Football Talk Extra, or Total Football Talk rather,
OG show.
with
Yes.
with D Willie and Cole. It had been too long since I tuned in. I tuned in a little bit, and they were saying that the Texans have to revamp that offensive line. CJ Stroud was
for
getting
sure.
hit far too much. I agree with them wholeheartedly. But honestly, this is another game where the Chiefs could have easily lost this game if it wasn't for Kaimi Fairburn, who has been unreliable lately.
Oh my gosh.
The outcome could have been a little different, but for the most part, this game kind of panned out how we thought it would, and the Chiefs just found a way to win the game as they have been able to do for many, many years now. Credit to the Texans. I think they elevated their play a little bit once they got into playoffs, but the Chiefs pass rush, just too much for them. And, the Texans ride ends here. And I think this was the least surprising. The divisional round had some surprising outcomes, and this was not one of them.
No, we talked about this on Saturday. I thought this was going to be similar to last year's divisional when the Texans were in the divisional. Fun fact: the Texans have never won back-to-back playoff games. So I think they're 6-8 all time in the playoffs now, in their 22-year history. It's gonna be, yeah. I mean, we talked about this a little bit. I expected the Chiefs offense to come out slow, and I don't know if they kind of did. They were limited. They were definitely limited in this game. The Texans defense, you gotta give all the credit in the world to DeMeco Ryans, excuse me, for putting together a really solid game plan for the defense. Because this Kansas City Chiefs team, as you mentioned, Dustin, it's not been the same in previous seasons, and they've not been, the offense at least has not been dominant like in previous seasons where they're putting up 30, 40, sometimes 50 points in a game. Not so much this season. And this is, again, another game where they're not scoring 30 plus points. But the Chiefs defense, this was definitely a defensive struggle between both teams.
Yeah.
And I got to give credit which credit's due to the Chiefs defense. They were impressive all afternoon long, particularly their pass rush. George Karlaftis, 3 of the 9 sacks they put on CJ Stroud. They put CJ Stroud on the ground a lot in this game. And if there's one guy to watch in the future who's going to be a super dominant edge in this league, it's George Karlaftis. And the Chiefs drafted him in the first round, I think in 2022, I want to say, for a reason. And this was the reason. A game like this, when you have Chris Jones and George Karlaftis giving you that much havoc in the backfield of your backfield, it's going to be a long day for you. And this was no exception. And it just seemed like every time the Texans entered the Chiefs' end of the field, the defense just pinned their ears back.
Clamped down, yeah.
And they clamped down. And they got to CJ Stroud. And if you're a Patriots fan, you've seen this movie before against a Steve Spagnuolo defense. Twice, in fact. Twice. And I have to wonder if this would have been a different game if CJ Stroud had more playmakers, if he had Stephon Diggs in the lineup, who tore his ACL in the middle of the season, and if he had Tank Dell to throw to, who unfortunately dislocated his kneecap against the Chiefs just about a month or so beforehand at Arrowhead Stadium. And I had to wonder if he had cleaner protection, because there was one thing I forgot to mention in Saturday's show, is that CJ Stroud was sacked 52 times in the regular season. And they got to him twice in the game against the Chargers. 11 sacks suffered in 2 games. 9 of them in just one game.
Yeah, that's it makes me, and it's weird because this was also a Texans quarterback, but it makes me want to scream, have you learned nothing from watching David Carr? Because I submit that David Carr could have been better than he was if he wasn't running for his life. And you could tell that it affected his confidence because he got hit so much. Now, CJ Stroud, a lot more mobile than David Carr, as I remember. No disrespect to Mr. Carr. He's an analyst now. He's doing fine. But just because I said it before, I've said it before when referencing Russ's younger days with the Seahawks. Just because a quarterback is mobile doesn't mean you should cut corners on your offensive line.
Yep. And I have a feeling that the Texans are going to want, with all the improvements they made over the last offseason, bringing in Joe Mixon, who had a very solid game, over 100 yards this game, over 100 yards rushing, and bringing in Stephon Diggs to be your playmakers. You forgot the most important piece, and that's protect your quarterback. And we know CJ Stroud he'll use his legs if he needs to.
Yeah.
But he's definitely more of a pocket passer than he is a scrambler. And this was evidenced in this game in the way that Bobby Slovic has this offense designed for CJ Stroud. So if you're the Houston Texans, if you're general manager, whose name escapes me for the moment, I don't remember his name. If you're the Texans GM, you are going to look at free agents in the offseason, and you're going to look at the draft board and see who is the best tackle, or who the best center, or who the best guard available is when you pick in the draft. And I believe they are, let me just take a look at the current draft board. They are picking 25th in the draft order. So yeah, this is definitely something to improve on. But again, Kansas City Chiefs, 7 consecutive AFC title appearances. Ridiculous.
You got to tip your cap to him. That's ridiculous. And I've done some real-time research, apparently while muting my mic by accident too. But hey, it's live, everybody. Nick Cesario is the name you're looking for. Nick Cesario.
Gotcha. We got some more comments in the comments section. Our friend of the show, Daniel Smooth, says, I have been summoned.
I'm glad you're here, Mr. Smooth.
Also known as the Kansas City Frauds. All our faith is in the hands of the Church of Josh Allen. Well, we'll talk about him momentarily.
Oh, yeah, we'll get there.
And Houston has said never went to the AFC title game. Has Houston. And they also said, and he actually crept in my mind when he said this. How they learned nothing from Matt Schaub. Yeah. No, they haven't.
No, they haven't. They didn't protect him either because they're like, we got Arian Foster. We'll be fine.
Yeah, we'll be okay. I mean, this was the same team that in the expansion draft in 2002, they drafted Tony Baselli, who was great. I guess he must have been the downswing of his career.
Yeah.
Because all of his time was spent, all of his good years were spent in Jacksonville.
So. Yeah.
All right, we're gonna move on to the next game of the night. I'm sorry to say, Julie from Michigan. This is gonna upset you. I know you're still heartbroken. It was a rough weekend for Michigan, between the Detroit Lions losing and Ohio State winning the national title, even though Ohio State lost to Michigan in the regular season. But I'm gonna vibe first on this game.
Yeah.
I think the only one who saw this game coming was friend of the show, Drew Willingham. because he mentioned it on Total Football Talk, the OG show. He said, "I'm not sure. I'm going to call it. I've got faith in my guys. I got faith in my team. Even if we lose, I'm proud of the way they played this season." Well, D. Willie, your guys are moving on.
Yeah.
And what's great about this game is that it was back and forth early. It got drunk very early. Drunker than a freshman at their first frat party. That kind of drunk. It was that kind of drunk. And the turning point of the game, it wasn't so much Quan Martin's pick six in the second quarter off that really errant pass that Jared Goff threw.
Yeah.
It was the no call on Frankie Louvu's helmet-to-helmet block on Jared Goff that, let's be honest, knocked Goff loopy, because on the next series, we saw Teddy Two Gloves, Teddy Bridgewater, fresh off leading his high school team as a head coach to the Florida State Championship, fresh off of that, coming into the game, and they scored a touchdown.
Hmm.
And then you think to yourself, why isn't he in the game?
Yeah.
Because Jared Goff threw another interception at the end of the second quarter. And after that interception, I said to myself, this is not Detroit's game. Now, I know they had to score in their first series because Washington actually got the ball first in the second half. Detroit forces a 3-and-out. Lions score. They get within 3. And then just the series of events happen after that, trying to play catch up, trick plays, that god-awful, that disastrous throw by Jamison Williams that got picked off by Jeremy Chin. That just ended it right there. But on the flip side, Jaden Daniels, man, we got to talk about him more. He's had another impressive game, 299 yards passing, 51 more on the ground. He's a rookie, but he's not playing like a rookie.
Yeah. Yeah. He's playing like a seasoned veteran, and it's a cliche phrase, but I'm going to use it. And he seems to not be rattled when the moment gets big, and we saw a little bit of dip in the middle of the season where his play kind of dipped a little bit. But I think that was due to the rib injury that he had. And, Washington, they were just able not to take away. I would never take away from the way the Commanders play. What was the one thing that I predicted would happen, Ryan? I said somehow Terry McLaurin's going to get by somebody on the defense and they're going to score with him. He's going to surprise people. He did that. They connected on a play it was a touchdown. But I missed the majority of this game, unfortunately, because I was, celebrating with family, I guess, is the best description. And we also watched Mr. Holland's Opus. The movie still holds up. The kids picked it. Well, I think my sister kind of picked it and kind of just strong-armed everybody into it. But I was cool with it. It's a classic. It's of its time. But I did get home and I saw the tail end of this game, and it just, as you said, like when the wheels started to come off a little bit for Detroit, they were trying everything to get back in it, and it just didn't work out. And I got to say, and I believe it was Troy Aikman and Joe Buck on the call for that one. And I think it was Aikman that said,
"Oh, it's Kevin Burkhardt and Tom Brady."
Oh, that's who it was. That's right.
Yeah,
that's right. My apologies. So it was Kevin Burkhardt who said Jared Goff picked a bad time to have a bad day. It was either Brady or Burkhardt that said that. I can't remember who, but I figured that's about as good of a description, because the Commanders played very, very well, and I think surprised a lot of people. Everyone was picking Detroit going into this game. Shout out to D. Willie, but the Commanders were able to figure it out. They were able to hang with them, and Jaden Daniels' poise is unmatched, especially for a rookie quarterback. It's unbelievable what he's doing, and it's not like previous quarterbacks. He is as mobile can be, but he's not the way that he rushes. He doesn't put his body in danger. He doesn't take big hits. mostly. There's a few exceptions. And man, can he throw a deep ball. There's
Oh
just
my gosh, it's
there's a
beautiful.
lot of things that he can do. And the turnaround in Washington, we're going to be talking about it for quite some time, regardless of how far they get. The turnaround is one of the best turnarounds in recent memory, for sure.
Oh, for sure. Oh my gosh. I mean, what I remember, I remember telling Drew about the Commanders hiring Dan Quinn, and I think I read his litany of swears.
Oh,
on
yeah. No,
air.
he was not happy. I was not either. I was
He was
befuddled.
not happy. He was just so confused. I don't know, confused, frightened, kind of like Unfrozen Caveman Lawyer.
Yeah.
But look at where they are now. They are one game away from going to New Orleans.
Well, and he can use the quote of one Bobby Wagner after the game. Two former teammates, Bobby Wagner and one of his former teammates, met and and greeted each other after the game. And Bobby's former teammate, whose name is escaping me right now, said, "You look old." And Bobby said, "Yeah, you guys are going home though." And they laughed. So
I'm kind of low key rooting for a Kansas City Washington Super Bowl. I'll tell you why.
all right, lay it on me.
Well, you get the Kansas City Chiefs. I know there's some people in this in the internet who wants the Chiefs to change their name because it's considered offensive. Then you got the Washington Commanders.
Mhm.
But what if instead of wearing their Commanders uniforms,
Yes.
they come out
They come out with the logo.
in these bad boys?
Oh, there we go. All right.
There it is.
It is there, yeah.
I am low-key rooting for that Super Bowl because I want to see the Commanders come out in those just for no particular reason other than just say, it's back. It's back.
Well, they got clearance to use the logo again, didn't they?
Well, they got clearance. I guess the team owners, Josh Harris,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
has said, yeah, we'll welcome anyone back, but we welcome anyone who wants to wear that gear into the stadium. I think he said, and I'm paraphrasing here, like I think they said they have no plans to change it back just yet.
Mm-hmm.
But I think we'll eventually see it.
Yeah. Yeah, you could be right about that. You could be right. That could be another Stradamus. We'll see if it comes true.
See, nature is healing. We got a couple more comments, and I got some breaking news. More breaking news.
Oh man, we're full of it tonight.
We are so full of it. Stainless Booth saying Hall of Famer Tony Baselli. I'm sorry, I did not mean to disrespect Mr. Baselli. I forgot to put some respect on his name. And then Six saying, and the Commander surprised and silenced the Detroit fans. You know what? It's funny. I said this on Saturday. I said the Commanders need to come out and silence the Detroit crowd because they're going to be rowdy. The weather is going to have no effect on the game because Ford Field is an enclosed stadium. And Detroit's known to be a loud crowd. Well, going into halftime, they were, and I should say from the middle of the third quarter on, that crowd was just taken out. And I think I saw a video of Lions fans leaving Ford Field with over 7 minutes left in the game. And I'm like, wow.
They were leaving, yeah. They were shocked. I mean, you can't. Yeah. I was shocked. I said, I can't believe this. I can't believe this. After when I saw the score update, because I was following along on my phone. Sometimes life happens. We do the best we can. I rushed home though because I said I got to see the end of this because there was a part of me with the way that Detroit had done it all season. I said they're going to find a way to claw their way back into this. They're gonna do something, and they just couldn't do it. They couldn't do it.
All right. Well, here's that breaking news I promised. Let's play the singer. According to Adam Schefter on Twitter, as of 15 minutes ago, 6:51 p.m. Eastern time, Lions defensive coordinator Aaron Glenn and Commanders assistant GM Lance Newark, both of whom interviewed in person today with the New York Jets, have left the team's training facility per sources.
Oh man. Oh man, the Jets said, because I saw a tweet, I think it was from Schefter earlier. He said the plan is not to let Aaron Glenn leave the building. If he does, the New Orleans Saints await. So I guess the Jets couldn't keep him hostage there.
Well, I don't figure. I saw a quote tweet from Paul Edson Jr., aka Boy Green, who quote tweeted it and had a little scene from Rush Hour, and he said, "Hey, New York Jets, what are the chances that they just went out for some Mushu?" All right, folks, we're going to take our network mandated commercial break. But when we come back, we're going to talk about Sunday's divisional games. We're going to talk about the coaching carousel in the NFL, as we kind of alluded to it. And we're talking about our favorite athletes who wore the number 6. Stand by. Stay tuned for more. No credentials required.
Righteous Felon Craft Jerky is the official jerky of Belly Up Sports. For over a decade, Righteous Felon Craft Jerky has led the American meat snack revolution by concocting delicious, adventurous, U.S.-sourced jerky recipes for uncompromising carnivores across the country. With 15 different flavors to choose from, Righteous Felon has all jerky lovers covered, and by using promo code BELLYUP, you will get 15% off your purchase at righteousfelon.com. Do your taste buds a favor today and rip into a bag of Righteous Felon jerky.
All right, folks, let's talk about Righteous Felon Craft Jerky. Oh, look at that. I got the scrolling. Got the scrolling going on. The ticker. Yes, Righteous Felon Craft Jerky, one of our premier sponsors at Belly Up Sports. You got some great craft. This is a great food product, all right? You want a snack that is nutritious, delicious, has a wide variety of flavors, not just the crafted jerky. It's made from 100% beef. You also got the turkey jerky, which tastes like a Thanksgiving dinner. Take my word for it. Or don't. Just order some. You also got the African-inspired air-dried biltong, which is the African air-dried inspired jerky. It's not just craft jerky. They've got beef sticks, 100% beef, unlike those other convenience store brand beef sticks, which contain as a primary ingredient pulverized chicken.
It's a special kind of madness. If you eat one, don't do it.
Don't do it. Don't snap into one of those. Go to Righteous Felon. Also, but in addition to human consumption snacks, they've also got canine consumption snacks. Dustin, tell the folks at home about what you gave your dog nephew at Christmas time.
Well, I gave Little Pickles. I gave him some treats from Righteous Felon, and they got here. I'll confess it right here for you and I and the people that are watching later and downloading and listening. So it's only going to be me and you that know about this, along with a bunch of other people, but that's okay. I forgot to order his Christmas present. I said I was going to do it, and I forgot to order it. I ordered that on December 22nd, and it was there Christmas Eve, ready for me to wrap and bring over. That was some fast shipping, but more importantly, to the snacks. He loves them. Every time I go over, I break them one and a half. I give him one because he's a small little guy. It's a large dog treat. It's it's like a stick, like what we get pretty much, but it's got flaxseed in it, sweet potato, natural stuff that your canines and pets are gonna love. So I couldn't recommend it more enough. And again, use the promo code BELLYUP at checkout. I got to re-up the order myself. I've only had a couple of flavors. They were delicious. It's something I've got to remedy. And I'm going to use the promo code myself.
Yeah. And it's not only the promo code you can use at checkout. 15% off. Use promo code BELLYUP at checkout, as a ticker on the bottom of your screen if you're watching. But for every order, and that includes when you use the promo code BELLYUP at checkout. If you put $50 or more worth of product in your basket, whether it be the jerky, the beef jerky, the turkey jerky, the biltong, the dog treats, gear, like t-shirts and such. I'm hoping they're getting some of those tumblers back in stock because I want one of those. Any order of $50 or more, you get free shipping. It's not just free shipping, it's free and fast shipping, which is awesome. So you can combine the promo code and the free shipping. You save yourself so much more. So again, righteousfelon.com, promo code BELLYUP at checkout, 15% off your order. Plus you get free and fast. Free and fast. This is the key word. Free and fast shipping with your order of $50 or more. All right, let's continue to talk about the NFL divisional round reaction. Sunday's games, I did not watch Sunday's games because I was in New Jersey taking my niece to her first NHL game. Unfortunately, it wasn't the result I wanted, but I had a great time with taking my niece to a game. I told Dustin I may go on a rant about the New Jersey and New York State Department of Transportation. But I'm not going to do that because time. We've already gone 50 minutes. But let's talk about the Sunday games, Dustin. Let's start with the early game, the 3:00 game, which was Rams against the Eagles in Philadelphia. Whoever won this game was going to host the NFC Championship game because it was the 2 and 4 seeds going at it. But let's get your thoughts about this game. What do you think about it?
Well, this game also this is the game that I saw, most of the way through. We did get some inclement weather, so I left where I was watching it a bit early, and whoa, that drive home was not fun. So I can only imagine what your drive home was like from New Jersey. But when I wasn't clutching the wheel, I was watching the Rams Eagles, and I have to say, Jalen Hurts, he scored early in this game with a touchdown run, but he has not looked the way that he's looked in previous seasons or even in previous stretches. This team drives through Saquon Barkley, and they proved it. They proved it again. Saquon was the equalizer on the field for this game. The Rams said that the last time that the Eagles and Rams played each other, Saquon gashed them up for like 230 something yards. It was something
255 yards.
55. I was going to guess 35, but it's 255 yards. The Rams said, okay, we're going to put people up front so that he can't do that again. Guess what? I mean, he got a lot of his yards on a couple of breakaway runs, but in this type of weather with this type of game, that's all they needed. He gashed them up for 205 yards. Now, Jared Verse, he was talking a lot of mess to the Eagles before the game, the Eagles and their fans, and he backed it up to the best of his ability. He had 2 sacks. That Rams defense played well, but there was a couple times Kyron Williams coughed up the ball and Matthew Stafford coughed it up, and you have to wonder if it was due to the weather. The ball was slick there. It was a problem, but the Rams, this was the game that I picked for the upset. I thought the Rams could pull this off, and they hung with the Eagles for parts of the game. Both defenses, there were turnovers. Both defenses played pretty well. But Saquon was the difference maker in this game. Saquon was the difference maker. And the Rams, Matthew Stafford tried to lead a comeback late. They fell short. But when you have the turnovers, the key turnovers by Kyron Williams and Matthew Stafford, respectively, you're not going to be able to beat a team like the Eagles that way. They have too many weapons, and the Rams just fell short. I missed the end of the game because I heard it on the radio as I was driving home, but I saw most of this game, and it just kind of felt like the Rams in the first half. I thought the Rams might stun the Eagles. I'm like, they if they can stay close, they can stun them. But as the game went on and Saquon had the breakaway runs, I'm thinking to myself, it just feels inevitable. Eventually, the Eagles are just going to pull this out, despite the Rams' best efforts. Those turnovers killed them. The weather was an advantage to the Eagles, with the snow and everything coming down. Well, precipitation.
Yeah.
because it looked rainy. It started the game. It was raining in Philly when the game started, and by the end of it was like a wintry mix.
Yeah, when we got out of the game at around 3:30ish, it was like a little rain/snow mix. Then we hit 280 to I-80 to 287, and it turned into a giant mess. It took 5.5 hours to get home.
Oh man,
that bad of it. But thankfully my niece was my traveling buddy. She was awesome. She's it's so funny. When we were going down to Clifton Park to Uncommon Grounds to get ourselves some breakfast.
Yeah.
It's like, I hate driving Clifton Park. I'm like, yeah, I know. But we're coming back up, taking the Northway. And she says, I have never been so happy to see Clifton Park in my life.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. No, I could only imagine, because where I was at our buddy Derek, his fiance, congratulations to him. She's an Eagles fan. So I've been going over there to watch the Eagles games, and there's been some stuff going on, support, things like that. So I went over there to watch the Eagles game, and it usually takes me about 15 minutes to get home from their house. Took a lot longer than that. So yeah, I could only imagine.
Just the Northway alone took 45 minutes.
Oh man.
From when we got off of exit 24 to my brother's house. I was like, this is ridiculous. But we got home. That's all that matters. That's all that matters. Wonka the saying in the comments says, I miss rooting for the Redskins versus the Cowboys, to be honest. Yeah, I believe you. I got you there. But talk about the Eagles and Rams. Yeah, we talked about this on Saturday. It was a nice appetizer before the main course, which was the evening game, which we'll talk about in just a moment or two. Well, I got to give credit where credit's due to the Rams.
Yeah.
They've been playing with a giant chip on their shoulder since week 5. Yeah. When they were 1-4. And all the way to the NFC. They won the NFC West. They beat the Vikings handily in the wild card game. And we kind of showed that the Eagles were going to have thoughts in their hands. They're going to have they're going to have a fight on their hands, excuse me. And they did that. The Rams. You talked about Jared Verse from Florida State by way of UAlbany, FYI, had 2 sacks, and that includes the safety that brought the Rams within 1.
Yep.
In the third quarter. But you talked about the fumbles. The Eagles. We saw how the Eagles were so much better in so many regards, especially up front, because both teams had, I think, between them, the defensive lines, they had, I think, 12 sacks between both of these teams.
Yeah.
I think the Rams got to Jalen Hurts 7 times, including that safety, and the Eagles got to Matt Stafford 5 times. But the Eagles, Saquon Barkley in particular, we talked about how the Rams had to stop Saquon Barkley. 205 yards later, including 2 long touchdown runs of over 60 yards, 62 and 78 yards, including the 78-yard touchdown run that basically put the nail in the coffin. In the coffin. And the Rams, again, we give credit where credit's due to them. They kept it close, but there was those 2 turnovers. Kyron Williams fumble in the first play of the fourth quarter, too. Yeah. First play of the fourth quarter. I watched the highlights this morning. I got up early to prepare for the show because I got some homework to do after the show's over. But I did my preparation for this show first. And I watched the highlights. And the Kyron Williams fumble, first play in the fourth quarter. They got a field goal. And then Matt Stafford's fumble, which turned into a 78-yard touchdown by Saquon Barkley. It ended things. That ended things. And the Rams got close at the end. They had that touchdown by Puka Nacua, that amazing touchdown grab. They couldn't get the conversion, couldn't get the onside kick, and that was it. So congratulations to the Rams. You got as far as you did, but the Philadelphia Eagles are back in the NFC Championship game after a year off.
Yeah. Yeah, and it just seems like the onside kick, because we'll get to another game in just a bit where an onside kick was a factor late. It was the thing that one team had to pin their hopes on. The percentages on the onside kick with the changes of you having to declare and all that, the onside kick is not going to work. It's not going to work anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, you might get lucky every once in a while, but usually the onside kicks weren't really successful. Low percentages. Now it's going to be even
it's
lower
next to impossible now.
It's going to be next to impossible to pull off because you have to declare that you're going for an onside kick if you're behind the fourth quarter. So it's just the element of surprise is no longer there in the NFL.
Yeah.
So we'll go to the Rams. I'm sorry, the Eagles, Commanders. That will be the early game on Sunday for the NFC Championship. Now we get to the main event. We get to the main course, which was the Ravens and the Bills. And I didn't another game I didn't watch because I was white knuckling it up the North Way, trying to avoid morons who are swerving in and out of lanes, and just trying to get home safe to bring my niece home safely. But when I did check my phone, there were like 24 text messages between my brothers and myself in our group chat. So, but if you're a Ravens fan, you've seen your fair share of heartbreaking losses in the last, I'd say, 5 years or so.
Yeah.
But this one has to be the most painful of all. And part of it is because the offense didn't perform up to expectations. Lamar Jackson had a fumble, had an interception. Mark Andrews had a fumble, dropped a 2-point conversion. It's not only that, because the Ravens fell behind 21-7 because the Bills capitalized on those 2 turnovers.
Yeah.
They fought all the way back because they got back to their bread and butter, which was handing the ball off to Derrick Henry. And Derrick Henry, 16 carries, 78 yards, and a touchdown. I don't think he got enough. I think the Ravens game plan, I think their offensive coordinator, whose name escapes me for the moment.
Is it Todd Monken?
Todd Monken.
Okay.
Yes, Todd Monken tried to be too cute. And the Bills did what they had to do. They took, give credit to the secondary. They shut down after the first touchdown, after the first drive, the opening drive that resulted in a touchdown. They did a great job shutting down the Ravens receivers for the most part. But we also saw Buffalo's killer instinct, particularly Josh Allen, because Buffalo turned those turnovers into points. They scored touchdowns after the interception. They scored a touchdown after that scoop, that fumble, which turned into a scoop by Von Miller, almost came back for a touchdown. Justice Hill got the tackle.
Was moving.
Yeah, Von Miller was moving, but so was Justice Hill. And but again, Josh Allen got the sneak into the end zone, got the quarterback sneak in the end zone, and it was 21-7 at that point. So the Buffalo Bills, this is what makes the Buffalo Bills so dangerous. When they get a turnover, at least as far as I've seen throughout the entire year, they turn it into points somehow, whether it be a field goal or a touchdown. They turn turnovers into points. That's how dangerous Josh Allen is. And look, ever since they switched offensive coordinators from Ken Dorsey, who's looking for a job again, to Joe Brady, Josh Allen has been monumentally better because Joe Brady's finally using the running game. He's finally helping Josh Allen play to his ability, and you've seen it. And also, this is another phenomenon that needs to be studied. Last week, we talked about Jordan Love during Toyotathon and not during Toyotathon.
Yeah.
Since Josh Allen got engaged to Haley Steinfeld, from mid-November on through the end of the season, he threw 20 touchdowns and only 1 interception. I don't remember how many touchdowns he has during the playoffs. I'll have to look that up. But Dustin, this is another one of those phenomenons that need to be studied.
Yeah, and I mean, you can't say you blame Josh. You know, he's taking care of the football like he's being taken care of in life, and I'll leave it at that. Obviously, very happy. But here's the thing, okay, and it's going to sound like I'm throwing massive massive shade at the Bills, and I'm not. Okay. I saw the majority of this game, though, because I was watching. Big shout out to the iPad. The iPad gets me. That's how I see so much football, because I had to work a little bit. I'm behind the 8 ball at my day job, and also I had a meeting to attend to because you were stuck on the highways of New Jersey. But through the magic of the iPad, I was able to watch the majority of this game, and the Bills played an outstanding game. With the Bills played what was probably, to my eye, one of their best defensive games of the season. Von Miller looked rejuvenated. It's the fastest I've seen him move on that recovery, like you were saying. But here's the spin that I'm going to put on it, because as Mr. Smooth said earlier, all our faith is in Josh Allen now, because I am rooting for the Bills to get to the Super Bowl. I want to see a Bills Commanders Super Bowl. That's what I'm pulling for at the moment. But here's my thing, Ryan. The Bills played a near perfect game, and James Cook, his performance, especially during the playoffs, he's been picking it up at the right time too. Love the way he's running the ball lately, and he was finding holes in this game as well. But the Ravens played a sloppy game. You just laid it out beautifully. The Mark Andrews drop usually doesn't happen. 9 times out of 10, he's going to catch that ball. The fumbles, the turnovers. Lamar was sloppy in this game, uncharacteristically, and they still almost came back to tie the game against the Bills, who on the other side played a near perfect game. So I am worried about the Buffalo Bills' chances against the Kansas City Chiefs. You know, it worries me because, like I said, the Bills were on fire in this game. They capitalized on every opportunity. Hats should be taken off to them, but I keep in the back of my head, I'm like, I watched that game. The Ravens shot themselves in the foot so many times, and they still almost came back to win the game. So I am nervous now. But Josh Allen, as you pointed out, their offensive coordinator, since Joe Brady took over, Josh Allen has been much better. He's also been much better because you can see it in his decision making. He's taking the checkdowns now. He's not trying to force throws. And also, he is a weapon because he's a big enough quarterback. If they need to go for it on 4th and 2, they don't need to hand it to their running back. They can just hammer it with Josh Allen. He's going to get it done the majority of the time. Any other team left does not have that luxury. The Buffalo Bills do. And if their defense can play like they did this game against the Ravens, watch out, everybody. But I'm a little scared. I have to admit, I'm a little scared.
Yeah, so I did the research while you were vamping. Josh Allen has 23 total touchdowns since he got engaged November 29th. He has 12 touchdown passes and 9 rushing touchdowns.
Man.
Or sorry, I'm sorry. It's 20. No, I'm sorry. I was incorrect.
Oh.
Yeah, 12. Yeah, 20 touchdowns overall. 20 touchdowns, 1 interception since got engaged on the 29th. And Daniel Smooth, moral of the story, have an amazing woman, lads. I'm working on it, bud. Okay. So is Dustin.
Yeah.
We're working on it.
It's not always easy, but I'm glad that you have found yours, Mr. Smooth.
Yeah.
Congratulations to you again.
Good for you.
And may I congratulate you on one other thing, my esteemed co-host on Seahawks Sessions. I love your casual use of the word lads in general conversation. It's one of my favorite things you do.
Yeah. He also says, if I'm a Ravens fan, I'm punching walls. Punching walls, screaming into pillows,
chasing waterfalls.
Don't go chasing waterfalls. Just stick to the rivers and lakes you're used to, okay? He also says 2011 Billy Cundiff with word.
Man, I remember that.
He also asks, what are your thoughts on Lions O-line coach Hank Fraley getting a second interview for the Hawks OC job? Timeout on that. We'll talk about that now in a new installment, a new segment I like to call The NFL coaching carousel update.
Oh, man.
I made that element today.
It's a great one.
Hang on a second.
There you go.
My shoulder. Getting old sucks. So yeah, the coaching carousel update of the NFL. The Chicago Bears made it official yesterday. They have hired former Detroit Lions offensive coordinator Ben Johnson. As I mentioned in the last segment, a couple seconds ago, we talked about Aaron Glenn interviewing for the Jets job. Staniel Smooth putting in the comments asking about the OC job for the Seahawks because they offloaded their offensive coordinator after one season on the job.
Yeah.
And, this is interesting that we have so many coaching carousel. Mike Vrabel got hired, which we talked about. Guess who he hired as his offensive coordinator, Dustin?
Oh, I saw that. And I nearly saw red. I'm like, it's the only place that he can succeed. It's the only place he's got to lick his wounds and go back to New England every stupid time.
It's the only place he's welcome. Okay.
Yeah.
He's not welcome in Indianapolis because he spurned them. He's not welcome in Denver because of what he did there. And he's definitely not welcome in Las Vegas.
No. And I still remember we made fun of him ruthlessly. Do you remember? Because Antonio Pierce was talking to inspire his team, to inspire the Raiders. He talked about his comeback against the Giants when he was a player on that team. And Josh McDaniels, Mr. Sensitive McSense, came over and he's like, "Don't ever talk bad about the Patriots." Oh my goodness. What a joke. What a joke.
Yep, and now he's back in New England as the offensive coordinator. He gets the Drake May gets the honor and duty, I don't know if you want to call it that, of being under his tutelage. But yeah, Mr. Smooth asking about Frank Fraley being the offensive line coach for the Lions, getting a second interview with the Seahawks for the OC job. He also mentions that Clint Kubiak
Clint
is also a finalist.
Yep. He had a second interview as well.
But this is kind of crazy. I mean, we've got several other positions still. I know Robert Saleh interviewed with the Jaguars.
Yep.
I actually, if Aaron Glenn takes the job in Detroit or in New York with the Jets, I can see Robert Saleh being the defensive coordinator next season with the Lions. How much fun would that be?
Oh, that would be
because he's from Detroit. He's from Detroit.
Yeah.
But you got other vacancies out there. The New Orleans Saints vacancy is still out there. The Las Vegas Raiders, their vacancy. The aforementioned Antonio Pierce being let go at the end of the year.
Yeah.
Dallas Cowboys, they're interviewing people. I think I saw they interviewed Brian Schottenheimer. Brian Schottenheimer.
Oh man.
What a blast from the past.
Oh man, based on his seasons as the Jets OC and then after that the Seahawks OC. Oh, I hope they hire him. Hope they hire him.
Listen, Brian Schottenheimer, for the first 2 seasons of Mark Sanchez, was a damn good coordinator. It just was it was just when they handed the keys to Mark Sanchez to run the offense.
He's not going to be your number 6, Ryan. He's not going to be your number 6.
Sadly, no, he's not going to be my number 6. I'm sorry. I'm not Rex Ryan. I don't have a crush. I don't have a man crush on him. So let's talk about the head coaching carousel. What are your thoughts? I mean, I know we'll probably have more thoughts on the next Seahawks sessions.
We got to decide when that's going to be.
But what's your thoughts about some of this coaching carousel? Coaching carousel?
Well, so I think Ben Johnson did the right thing by waiting last year because there were teams, Washington apparently they wanted him last year, and he kind of spurned, and he had an interview with Seattle scheduled as well, but it was something, I forget about the order of events, but something like John Schneider said they were going to interview Ben Johnson after Mike McDonald, but once Baltimore lost, and then John Schneider interviewed Mike McDonald, he said he didn't want to let him leave the building. But I know that Ben Johnson turned down the Commanders at the time because he basically said he liked what he had going in Detroit, and he didn't know if he was ready. There were leaks from some of his people around him that he wasn't sure if he was ready. And I think he probably enters now we just extolled the virtues of the Commanders turnaround. So, but I think he does enter a good situation with the Bears. They have some talent on that team.
Yeah,
If
they do have talent.
So, and if he can right the ship with Caleb Williams, imagine what kind of, and guess what, everybody? Caleb didn't have as bad of a season as everybody thinks that he had. He just was compared to Jaden Daniels, who's still playing. So, okay. But if he can right the ship, quote unquote, in Chicago with Caleb Williams, that'll be a good feather to put in his cap. So I like the hire by the Bears for Ben Johnson, something new, but I know Chicago fans probably want to coach with a little bit more experience. But we're going to have to see how this one works. Aaron Glenn, I really thought that the Jets were going to try to keep him in the building. I thought that your second breaking news, I thought was going to be that they had hired Aaron Glenn, but I think he is more than ready for a head coaching job. He's proven it. We'll have to see if he takes the Saints job.
Saturday's game withstanding, but to be fair,
mm-hmm.
the Lions defense has been banged up for the last 2 months of the season. So, this was bound. Like, this collapse was bound to happen eventually. Unfortunately, it happened at the wrong time.
Yeah, and honestly, I think the Bears' job and the Saints' job, and to some degree the Jets' job, are the best of the open opportunities. I don't know who's going to want the Cowboys' job. I don't know that's going to be tough because of who you have to work for and who makes the decisions. And I don't know about the Raiders job. I don't know who. There was a rumor out there that Pete Carroll was going to interview for the Raiders job. I don't see that working out. I don't know, but this is very interesting. And to get to Staniel's point, Hank Fraley, I don't know enough about him, okay? But I know Detroit's offensive line has been one of the better offensive line in recent years. And what have the Seahawks struggled with? Offensive line. Maybe he can help stabilize that line a little bit. And an offensive line coach is going to want to emphasize the run, which I hypothesized on Seahawks sessions. And I think Staniel agreed with me at the time. It's been a couple of weeks since we've done an episode, but I think that no one really said it, but I think that one of the main reasons Ryan Grubb was let go is that he was a little too pass happy for Mike McDonald's liking. I think Mike McDonald wants to focus on the run more. So I think it could work, but Clint Kubiak also got that second interview. And I think that if the Lions had not lost, I think Clint Kubiak would have been hired. But since the Lions lost and Fraley is now available to take interviews, I think he's got a shot.
Mr. Smooth says, what's next? Chuck Pagano to the Cowboys? Fun fact, Chuck Pagano is only 5'6".
Oh, wow. I didn't know that. He's a short kid.
You might be taller than him.
No, he's
same
with
height.
Me. Yeah,
okay.
He's with me.
Kevin Wilson from Belly Up Fantasy Sports and also sort of the Seahawks session saying Pete Carroll needs to stay far away from the Vegas job.
Yeah.
And Stales boosting the Hawks have O-line talent. It's just the scheme was terrible for years. Yeah. I guess so. I mean, I wouldn't know. I mean, I've seen bad offensive lines on the New York Jets. Okay, this season was improved once they took out Tyron Smith's corpse and they put in Olu Fashanu.
Well, and I got to say, I felt bad for you because to go back to the Eagles and Rams game for just a little bit, Mekhi Becton's playing well for the Eagles, okay, which has got to sting. It does
hurt a little bit because he played out of position. He was drafted as their left tackle, and he's playing much better at right guard. If they had moved him inside to tackle, and they put somebody like as they had, if they kept him as a tackle or kept him as a guard, or maybe play swing on the or play swing guard, and they drafted Olu Fashanu. I don't know what they're going to do with Troy Smith, or it's not Troy Smith, Tyron Smith. Hopefully they just let him go because he did not play well this year. What might have been? The offensive line would have been much better, but hopefully they won't have Keith Carter to see anymore with his terrible blocking schemes, and we'll bring in somebody who's much more competent. Yeah. So we'll find out. Who the next head coach of the New York Jets brings in as our offensive coordinator. All right, we're gonna wrap things up quickly with this is episode number 6 of 2025. We've been kind of going through a little mini series about our favorite athletes to wear a particular number. We're gonna talk about our favorite athletes to wear the number 6. And again, the caveat is this is athletes we have seen play in our lifetime. This is not including legacy. We have plenty of number 6s in history who are great athletes in their own regard, but this is athletes we either grew up watching or saw play during our lifetime. So, Dustin, I'm going to start it off with you. Your favorite athlete to wear the number 6.
All right. Like I said, some of these are harder, and I got to kind of think about them a little bit more, and some of them are easy. Did I almost pick LeBron just to see what your reaction would be? Yes. But I did not do that. But I'm kind of breaking the rule, but not for this selection, because I never saw this person play as an athlete, even though he was a baseball player at one time. I said we might talk a little baseball later in the show. Here it is. My favorite number 6 is none other than the longtime esteemed manager of the New York Yankees, Joe Torre. I love Joe Torre, and it's because okay, I'm going to go on a long soliloquy. Like I said, I did not see Joe Torre play. Okay, I'm not that old. I'm not that old, but he was in an era where managers used their gut to manage. You know, like Jim Leyland, Charlie Manuel, Bobby Cox, all those managers. Joe Torre was part of that last old school class that from the mid 90s, early 2000s. And I always loved the way Joe carried himself under the spotlight of the New York media. There was a lot of backlash. I was around for it. There was a lot of backlash when Joe Torre was hired as the New York Yankees manager. And he was, in my opinion, a master at managing the circus that was some of the big stars that they had in New York, and also dealing with an owner, quite a vocal owner like George Steinbrenner. Joe Torre always just seemed to be the steadying hand, and also he never flinched or anything in the dugout. It became a running joke for me as a kid. I'd watch him, and he looked like he was just the same no matter what was going on in the game. I don't know. There was just something. It's kind of like with my Michael Finley pick back on episode 4. I always liked Joe Torre, and I have a hard time articulating why. I think I have a lot of childhood memories associated with watching Joe Torre and that era of New York Yankees specifically. I will be the first to admit Buck Showalter got a raw deal because the Yankees let him go just when they were on the cusp. I think that was the narrative in poor Buck's career for a while. He turns the Rangers around. They jettison him. You know, it always seems to happen. But Joe Torre, he was just a master at managing. He made some mistakes like everybody does, but he always took responsibility for them as well, which is another thing that I liked. But I always admired his calm and even-handed approach to managing the New York Yankees.
So I've been doing some more just kind of research about the balloting for the Baseball Hall of Fame.
Mm-hmm.
Ichiro fell one vote short of
Who was the
unanimous
idiot that
decision.
didn't make it? Who was the
I
idiot?
want to meet that idiot.
I
Probably
know.
the same idiot who did not give his vote to Derek Jeter when he was elected into the Hall of Fame.
That was
99.7%. Mariano Rivera, the only unanimously voted Hall of Famer in the Hall of Fame ever. Still. But yeah, I like to meet the idiot who voted who did not put Ichiro on his ballot.
Yeah. Yeah.
Seriously.
Oh man.
All right, so my favorite athlete to wear number 6, but let's see. Steve Garvey from Kevin Wilson saying Steve Garvey, number 6 for the Los Angeles Dodgers. Wonko the Saint saying, thanks all. Got to take off. Great stuff. Thanks, Wonko. Thanks for stopping by.
Yeah, thanks for having.
Kevin Wilson also asking who the head coach of the New York Jets will be. Shrug emoji.
Or maybe
I don't know.
Or maybe he's saying Rex Ryan, head coach of the New York Jets, question mark. Because if you watch interviews, Rex thinks he's the guy. He thinks he's the guy, Ryan.
I am untethered and my rage knows no bounds.
Mr. Wilson, we're going to have words.
I
Have some words.
want to put words in his mouth.
He was never a serious candidate. He just got an interview because he said he wanted to interview. He got his way. He got his wish. There was no way he was ever seriously being considered. Anyway, back to the topic at hand before we close things out tonight. My favorite athlete to wear number 6, and I only saw him briefly as a child, as growing up. But my favorite athlete to wear the number 6 was from the Philadelphia 76ers, also from the New Jersey Nets, also from the Kentucky Colonels.
See, I couldn't pick him.
Number 6, Julius Erving, Dr. J.
Great pick.
Because, I mean, yes, he was a great scorer. He was a great scorer, period. Great scorer, period. But the fact that he was just so athletic, it was just incredible to watch him on the court. He played from 1972 to 1987. So I got a glimpse of seeing him, and just watching highlights of the 1983 NBA Finals when he posterized a Los Angeles Lakers. I believe it was Michael Cooper. He posterized
probably
one of the great plays in NBA Finals history.
Yeah, funny coincidence. I am reading Winning Time, the story of the 80s Los Angeles Lakers, and they talk about that finals in the book. I just recently read the chapter, so that's why it's fresh in my mind.
Yeah, 1983 NBA champion. He did not win the final. I don't think he won the Finals MVP. Fun fact. Actually, I forgot to mention one other team he played for, the Virginia Squires. That's where he started his career in the ABA. Ward number 32 with the Squires. So it wasn't the Kentucky Colonels. It was the Virginia Squires he started his career with. Then he played for the New York Nets. Then he played for the Philadelphia 76ers, where he started to wear the number 6 after he was traded. Then he played for them until 1987 when he retired. Just incredible stats. Points per game. Trying to figure out what his points per game were. He averaged during his career. He averaged 24.2 points per game. He averaged in 1973, 72-73, in 71 games with the Virginia Squires, 31.9 points per game. Won the scoring title in the ABA. 3 times in 73, 74, and 1976. Was not the NBA All-Star, not the NBA Finals MVP in 1983, which was a shame, but he won MVP in 1981 when he helped lead the 76ers to the finals, lost to the aforementioned Los Angeles Lakers in 6 games, beat them in 5 in 1983. But he regularly showed up in the All-Star game. How many times was he All-Star? 10-time All-Star or 16-time All-Star between the ABA and the NBA. Was a scoring champion in the ABA. Just an incredible athlete. Named the NBA 75th anniversary team. Incredible athlete. Just if you don't know, go watch his highlights.
Yeah, go check him out. And also, shameless plug for, and he doesn't need it, but read Bill Simmons' The Book of Basketball. A lot of great stuff in there, you know. If you want to learn more about the game before you were born, if you're younger, check it out.
Yeah, I may not like his opinions on Boston sports because he's a Boston homer, but yes, the Book of Basketball definitely is one of those reads. I haven't had a chance to read it yet, but from what I understand, the Book of Basketball is one of the best basketball reads you'll ever read. I used to enjoy his stuff on ESPN, Page 2.
Yes,
which was awesome. It was an awesome website. It was so much fun to read before they took it down because basically he left the company. When he left to go to be a writer for the Jimmy Kimmel show, Late Night with Jimmy Kimmel.
Yeah.
Then he started The Ringer. So that's when they canceled Page 2. I loved Page 2.
Yeah,
Simmons,
Page 2 was awesome.
Greg Easterbrook. I forget the writer's name, but he had the guy who wrote the Thoughts from the Water Cooler. He was pretty funny too. The Bottom 10 rankings. But yeah, that's my Julius Erving, my favorite number 6. Number 7 is going to be interesting. I've got a few athletes in mind for number 6. Honorable mention for number 6.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I had 2 honorable mentions. Ryan Howard, Philadelphia Phillies legend.
Ryan Howard, I thought about it. One
of the best power hitters in the 2000s. And Jack Hughes, who wore number 6 for the USA development team before he was drafted by my New Jersey Devils in 2019.
There you go.
Couple of comments before we go. Schmitty checking in saying, "Can't believe you guys snubbed the great Mark Sanchez."
Oh man, if you missed the beginning of the show, I already was shocked that number 6 wasn't going to be the Sanchez for Ryan.
No, because I would have been clowned by Patriots fans saying, "Butt bumble."
Yeah. But I do have to say,
you don't know my pain.
It's my trademark every time he appears. P. Schmitty, I feel like I've known you all my life. I'm gonna keep doing it.
And Kevin Wilson saying that I should be coach of the New York Jets.
Okay, that's much better. See, I knew I was putting words in his mouth, but I was maybe he's saying Rex Ryan.
No, because my first day in the job, I would probably punch Woody Johnson and then be escorted out of the building.
Yeah,
coach for one day. Like I think I'd be the coach longer than Bill Belichick was the coach of the New York Jets. Except I wouldn't have flop sweat when I announced my resignation. All right, we're gonna get out of here for this longer than usual edition of No Credentials Required.
Well, we had some breaking news.
We had lots of breaking news to start out with and throughout the show. But in the meantime, before we go, we've got some business to take care of. We want you to follow us on social media: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. Just search No Creds REQ and check out more of our stuff at bellyupsports.com for writing and podcasts. Check it out there. On the podcast side, subscribe to the podcast on your preferred platform, including Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Spreaker, Amazon Music, iHeart, TuneIn, and Pandora. And don't forget to hit that notification bell, whether you're on Twitter or on YouTube. That way you know when we go live. That way you know when we get show announcements, when we put clips up. It'll all be there. Hit that notification bell. And again, rate, review, comment on the podcast side, 5-star rating. Review if you can. Comment on Spotify. We'll read your comments. And thank you for everyone joining us on the replay on Belly Up Sports YouTube page, also on our Rumble page. Remember to leave a comment. We'll read it. We'll make sure we get to read it. Except no thirsty hose, please. We are poor. We are poor. All right. Thank you for joining us. Whether you watch live or you watched the replay, thank you for joining us on No Credentials Required, where you don't need a press pass to talk sports. We are proudly presented by the Belly Up Sports. By Belly Up Sports. For Dustin Henry, I'm Ryan McCarthy. We'll be back on Saturday morning, 10 a.m. Eastern, to preview the NFL's conference championship games taking place on Sunday afternoon. We'll also talk about our favorite athletes to wear the number 7, and hopefully we'll have more news on the NFL coaching carousel on another edition of that. But in the meantime, have a great night. Take care of yourself. We'll talk to you on Saturday.
Good night, everybody.